Today on the Roxom Report London, one of Bitcoin's price volatility signals has gone off. Vietnam is introducing a new digital currency and technology law. Pakistan is getting some advice from Michael Saylor. And new protections against money laundering and quantum computing. All that plus news on the AI front and more today on the Roxom Report London. Hi, I'm Ione Butler and welcome to the Roxom Report London. We're broadcasting live from our studio here in the capital of the UK. Now let's dive into the headlines. We're starting with the biggest Bitcoin story of the day. This is Top of the Block.
Okay.
If you've been staring at Bitcoin's price lately and thinking, when's the next big move? Well, the charts might finally have something to say. A key indicator is flashing, and it's one that's historically shown up just before major Bitcoin rallies. Now, bear with me, this is going to get a bit technical. It all comes down to a classic tool, Bollinger Bands. These are those curved lines you see bracketing price on a chart, 2 standard deviations above and below the 20-week moving average. When the gap between those bands widens, it usually means something big is brewing. More volatility, more price action, more fireworks. Right now, that gap, also known as the Bollinger Band spread, is starting to shift. And more importantly, the MACD histogram linked to that spread has just flipped positive. Let's break that down. The MACD, or Moving Average Convergence Divergence, Convergence divergence, I've got to get that right, is a momentum indicator traders use to spot trend reversals. But here, instead of tracking price directly, it's tracking the spread between the Bollinger Bands. And when the MACD on that spread turns positive, it's historically been a bullish volatility signal. Now, we've seen this before, late 2020, right before Bitcoin ripped past 20,000 and went parabolic. Again in late 2024, just ahead of another major rally. In both cases, the MACD flipped positive just before the fireworks began. Now, to be clear, volatility is price agnostic. It doesn't promise a rally. It just says brace for impact. But when this signal has triggered before, the impact has tended to be, well, upward. So what's next? We're not calling a price target here, but the technicals are suggesting that Bitcoin might be winding up for a new move, and that the period of sideways drift could be coming to an end. The MACD has flipped. The spread is set to widen, and if history is any guide, bulls might want to buckle up. We'll be right back with Market Watch.
Xapo Bank, the only way to bank your Bitcoin. Apply now at xapobank.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for your patience there while we were taking care of some technical issues. Let's take a look at how the markets are moving right now. So we're starting with European stocks. In France, the CAC 40 is sitting at 7,556. That's up almost 1%. The Germany's DAX Performance Index is at 23,629. That's up almost 0.5%. In the UK, the FTSE 100 index is 8,891, up almost 0.5%. And Spain's IBEX 35 at 14,067, up 1.13%. Next, we'll take a look at the US stocks and see how they've been performing over the last 24 hours, or I guess since close on Friday. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is at 42,197. That's down almost 8%. The Nasdaq Composite, 19,406, also down 1.3%. The S&P 500, 5,976, down 1.13%. Coinbase is doing all right at $242 a share. That's up 0.69%. MicroStrategy, 382, up 0.82%. Nvidia Corp, 141, down 2%. And Tesla Inc., $325 a share, up almost 2%. Now moving on to Bitcoin. It's currently at 106,731. That's up 1% over the last 24 hours. Now digging a little bit deeper into what's been going on in the world of Bitcoin. As I said, Bitcoin's currently trading at 106,731. That's been a 1% increase over the last 24 hours. The price has fluctuated between a low of 104,601 and a high of 106,730. Investor confidence remains strong, bolstered by recent institutional interest and a generally bullish outlook in the crypto market. The Relative Strength Index, RSI, and moving averages suggest a continuation of the upward trend, though caution is advised as the market approaches key resistance levels. This price movement indicates a resilient market, with Bitcoin maintaining its position above 106,000 despite broader economic uncertainties. Now, coming up next, it's the Global Gist, your quick hit of what's happening across the world in finance and tech. From Bitcoin headlines to market shakeups, we're breaking it down at speed, sharp, smart, and straight to the point. It's the Global Gist. I'm not, can we share the, rather than the screen share. On June 14th, Vietnam's National Assembly passed a sweeping new law, the Law on Digital Technology Industry. And here's the headline. It officially legalizes crypto assets, putting Vietnam among the first countries to pass a standalone digital tech law. Not just regulations tucked into financial acts. This is a full legislative framework dedicated to crypto, AI, semiconductors, and more. So what's actually in the law? First, it gives digital assets legal standing, splitting them into two types: virtual assets and crypto assets. This excludes securities, stablecoins, or central bank digital currencies, but it's a major step towards legitimacy for blockchain innovation in Southeast Asia. It also signifies a tightening of guardrails. The law calls for clear rules on oversight, business conditions, and compliance, particularly around anti-money laundering. That's key. Vietnam's been on the Financial Action Task Force's grey list since 2023. This law looks designed in part to get off it. But here's where it gets even more ambitious. This law isn't just about crypto, it's part of a bigger push to turn Vietnam into a next-generation tech hub. We're talking incentives, real ones, for companies in AI, semiconductor design, and digital infrastructure. Tax breaks, land use benefits, R&D funding. The government is even directing local officials to develop the talent pipeline with subsidies, training, and national curriculum updates to teach digital skills. That's a long-game strategy. It's not just regulation, it's industrial policy. And it comes at a time when Vietnam is still cleaning up from major crypto scams, fake mining platforms, bogus coins wrapped in spiritual nonsense, even a scam that nearly took in 300 new victims last December. So, this law is doing two things at once. It's locking the door on fraud and throwing open the door to real innovation. Vietnam isn't just regulating digital assets, it's betting big on the digital economy. And if it works, this could be the model other countries start copying. Okay, moving on to our next Global Gist story. Pakistan is getting serious about Bitcoin, and now it's got Michael Saylor in the room. Yes, that Michael Saylor, the executive chair of Strategy, formerly MicroStrategy, and the biggest corporate holder of Bitcoin on the planet. His company owns over 582,000 Bitcoin worth more than $61 billion, and now he's advising Pakistan's Ministry of Finance. According to local reports and footage posted by government officials, Saylor met this week with the finance minister and the state minister for crypto and blockchain. On the table, how Bitcoin could play a role in Pakistan's state reserves and what a forward-looking crypto policy might actually look like for a country of over 240 million people. And Saylor wasn't just there to offer polite encouragement. He reportedly welcomed the idea of advising Pakistan on its crypto ambitions, calling the country brilliant and pointing out that its global business links make it a natural contender for digital financial leadership. It's a big moment. Pakistan isn't just dabbling in crypto, it's exploring how Bitcoin could operate at the sovereign level, potentially as a reserve asset, something only a few governments have seriously considered so far. And they're bringing in the guy whose company made Bitcoin accumulation its core strategy. Let's put that in perspective. Strategy didn't just buy Bitcoin, it bet the company on it. Since 2020, it's sold billions in shares and debt to fund its Bitcoin buys. And the gamble paid off. Its share price has jumped more than 3,000%. So when someone like Saylor walks into your finance ministry and says, "Here's how we did it," people listen. Is this Pakistan's full pivot to Bitcoin? Not yet, but it is a powerful signal that Bitcoin is no longer just a tech story, it's a geopolitical one. And countries that move now could shape how the next decade of digital finance plays out. All right. Next up, Hong Kong, one of the world's most important financial hubs, is building a crypto tracking tool to combat money laundering. The city's Customs and Excise Department is teaming up with the University of Hong Kong to make it happen. Why? Well, because financial crime has gone borderless and fast, and crypto is the new terrain. Between 2021 and May 2025, Hong Kong authorities recorded 39 major money laundering cases. 7 of them involved crypto. Now that may sound small, but dig deeper and you find operations involving billions of Hong Kong dollars, hundreds of suspicious transactions, and crypto platforms used to quietly move vast sums of illicit cash. In one case alone, $229 million flowed through just 5 companies and 18 bank accounts. Another involved $760 million routed through a single crypto exchange. The scale is jaw-dropping, and authorities are responding with urgency. But here's the catch. They're not revealing how the tool works. It's confidential, understandably, given the nature of what they're trying to stop. What we do know is that it will be a joint effort across academics, custom officials, regional finance experts, and global law enforcement. They've already hosted a workshop bringing together officials from China, India, Iran, Thailand, New Zealand, and more. The goal? Building stronger, faster coordination against digital crime. And this isn't just a local issue. In New York, the founder of Avita Pay, a crypto payments platform, was indicted just days ago for allegedly laundering over $530 million from sanctioned Russian banks. U.S. prosecutors say he used stablecoins to help Russian clients access restricted American tech. And now he's facing 22 federal charges, including money laundering and wire fraud. Here's the bottom line. Governments are no longer treating crypto as a sideshow. It's now a core part of how global financial crime is committed and tracked. What Hong Kong is doing may well become the blueprint for the next phase of digital enforcement. Okay, we'll be right back after a short commercial break.
Security matters. Zappo Bank. The only way to bank your Bitcoin. Apply now at zappobank.com.
Record your message.
Welcome back to more news from around the world. It's the Global Gist. Now, our next story, Curanium. The team behind a quantum-secure Layer 1 blockchain just dropped a new crypto wallet called QSafe. And it's not your typical wallet. It's built from the ground up to survive a future most of us haven't even thought about. A future where quantum computers can crack the cryptography protecting your crypto. Now, if that sounds dramatic, consider this. Most wallets today still rely on algorithms that could, in theory, be broken by a powerful enough quantum computer. QSafe flips the script. It uses two cutting-edge algorithms handpicked by the US National Institute of Standards and Technology for their post-quantum strength. That means backups are encrypted, transactions are signed, and your digital assets are shielded by default with quantum resistance tools. As Curanium's founder put it, you don't hire a security guard after the theft, you hire one to prevent it. Which brings us to the bigger picture. Quantum computing is no longer a theoretical threat. While today's machines top out at around 1,000 qubits, estimates suggest that cracking Bitcoin's encryption would take millions of fault-tolerant qubits. So yes, we're not there yet, but the pace of progress, especially with AI now in the mix, is picking up fast. And the stakes? Well, they're absolutely massive. Bitcoin and other digital assets are now embedded in global finance. If quantum computers could suddenly rewrite the cryptographic rules, trillions in value could evaporate. But, and this is key, the crypto world isn't standing still. Groups like NIST are standardizing post-quantum algorithms. Projects like Curanium are already baking them in. And Bitcoin's open source nature means it can evolve. So, is quantum computing going to kill Bitcoin? Not if Bitcoin adapts first. And right now, it's doing exactly that. Quantum may be one threat, the threat of tomorrow, but today's wallets are already fighting back. Okay, Anton, we're going to speak to our producer up above. What are your thoughts on these new advancements in security? Kind of ties into a conversation we were having with them.
I like
Sorry,
that they're
go ahead.
preparing for it, but I am scared of the future of security. I mean, can they really protect against a computer that powerful, I guess is my question. I mean, right now we can't really protect against AI at all in terms of our security and everybody, all the phishing scams and the Pegasus scam. So I'm concerned about where this could go.
Yeah, well, it reminds me of the conversation that we had with Susie Violet Ward last week, and she made a really great point, which was if Bitcoin is going to get hacked, everything will be done before that happens. And so I think there is reason to be concerned, but to her point, Bitcoin's probably the safest bet if it is all going to, if that is the future, cold storage and things like that might be best.
If Bitcoin is done, it's kind of like we're all done. For every bank, every fiat institution is done anyway.
Exactly. They've got into the bank accounts long before they've hacked all the Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean, it's reassuring to see that this development is happening. I hope that continues. It would be great if we could get some of these developers and CEOs of these companies on the show to sort of talk about the advancements that they're making. I think that's a good guests to be reaching out to. Okay. Appreciate that. Moving on to our next story. Talking about AI in a bit more depth now, a quiet transformation is taking shape in the world of AI, and it could fundamentally change how software and even the economy works. We're talking about autonomous agents. These are AI systems that don't just respond to prompts. They initiate actions, complete tasks end to end, and even commission other agents to help them along the way. Booking travel, sourcing data, coordinating logistics, all without human oversight. But there's a core challenge. These agents are currently stuck in closed systems. Most of their interactions are built as internal tools or direct API calls. There's no open infrastructure that allows them to find each other, collaborate, or transact, especially across different platforms. That's where crypto may become essential. In a recent essay from A16Z Crypto, I think the company is A16Z Crypto, researcher and Harvard affiliate Scott Duke Commoners makes the case that blockchains could provide the neutral ground that agent economies need. Open, interoperable, and compostable by design, blockchains can serve as a kind of universal coordination layer, one that evolves alongside AI instead of limiting it. Early projections are already exploring this space. Companies like Halliday are developing shared protocols for agent workflows. Others, Cantina, Skyfire, are using crypto infrastructure to enable agents to pay each other securely and autonomously. Even Coinbase is investing in the back-end tools that could support this shift. The concept is straightforward but powerful. If agents are going to collaborate, they need infrastructure that doesn't depend on a single company or closed ecosystem. Crypto networks offer a way to do that, not just by moving value, but by enforcing user intent, coordinating interactions, and maintaining transparency. The takeaway? If autonomous agents are the next major leap in software, crypto might be the architecture that helps them operate at scale, safely, transparently, and across borders. It's a foundational shift, one that links two of the most transformative technologies of the decade. Okay, what are your thoughts of these AI agents doing all your work for you?
The idea of an autonomous AI agent with access to my money and able to transact for me. I mean, in one way, I'm like, I like that idea. I think it makes things a lot easier. I think that gives them a lot of control over a lot of my life. How do you feel about this?
I think I'd have to agree. I do wonder when you've kind of got these AI systems, when it's just open. I do wonder about what that means for the future when you've just got all of these AI systems accessing all different types of platforms at any given time. Then if something goes rogue, then how do you close that back down again once it's been sort of let out? So from a practical perspective, yes, that would be nice, to have something book flights for me and things like that. But the broader picture is, what does this mean? How safely can this be done? That would be my one concern.
Yeah, and even if something doesn't go road, if it just goes wrong, it seems like it would be way harder to track it down with all these AI agents just speaking to one another in one fluid progression.
You make a great point. Say there's a mistake along the line. If there's no human oversight, how can that be checked and resolved? It does. It leads to a bigger question of AI and AI on social media and AI on television. Do we just want to be a bunch of people watching AI create? Do we just want our social media accounts to be AI interacting with AI? Then what's the point? Do we just want to watch AI only generated stuff? I personally don't. I'm curious to see if that's what things become.
I'm wondering, especially with AI video, will there be a time when sort of there is artistry to it? I mean, it's nice, but I feel like artistry comes from a person, and can you put enough of yourself into an AI generated video to make it real art that other people could appreciate and not just an algorithm that
I think you can. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of the videos that have been coming back from, VO3, Google's AI, computer video AI platform. Is it VO3? Have I said that right? And a lot of, I do think very creative stuff has been made. It definitely has they're coming out a bit, they're all very kind of shocking and wild, the things that I've been watching. And that's a specific style. But I definitely think, yes, I think somebody can put their stance. I mean, if they're being prompted by a person, then there's definitely that human interaction there. I think I'm talking more along the lines of when you've just got AI writing scripts and AI generating videos at that point, then how interesting is that stuff? I think right now we've still got a lot of people
with no human in the chain at all.
Yeah. Will that be interesting? We will find out.
Yeah, and what's the end game too?
What is the end game? Things being made for cheap. I think that's the end game of the people who want to use it. Production companies, film, video companies wanting to do things cheaply. The companies behind them making a good amount of money, but for the audiences, I mean, I guess if it's possible to just have AI ads and AI content and people are just sort of blindly consuming it, a bit like that, what is that movie, Idiocracy with that show? But we've just got people blindly watching AI generated stuff and spending money, then sure. It's not really what I want to live in personally, devoid of human creativity. Yeah. I think there's a 50-50% chance of it going either way. I can't quite call it.
Yeah, I think these next few years are going to be really interesting.
Very telling. Yeah, there was the Happy Valley, concept of when things are just a little bit too real for people's likings, they disengaged from it. And I wonder with the AI video, whether that still rings true or whether we're more susceptible. I haven't really heard much about that conversation in terms of AI-generated video. Have you?
Yeah, that's right. Uncanny Valley. Like, does that even exist anymore? I feel like we're past it. It's hard for me to tell the difference, even when I know I'm watching an AI video.
Oh, really? You still? Huh.
There's still something that's a little bit off, but I feel like we're getting very, very close to not being able to know it all.
Yeah. We will see. 50-50. We'll see how it goes. All right. Well, we're going to be right back. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll see you after the break.
Security matters. Zappo Bank. The only way to bank your Bitcoin. Apply now at zappobank.com.
Welcome back. Next, we're driving into a segment that's all about shaking things up. Bitcoin isn't just a currency, it's a mindset. So this segment is not always about Bitcoin itself, but it's always about the spirit of it. This is Buck the System. Hollywood giants Disney and Universal have taken a significant step in the escalating battle over AI-generated content, filing a lawsuit against the AI firm Midjourney. The studios accuse Midjourney's image generator of turning into what they call a bottomless pit of plagiarism. Strong words. The complaint points to the AI tool producing countless images featuring some of the most iconic characters ever created: Darth Vader from Star Wars, Elsa from Frozen, the Minions from Despicable Me, and Marvel's Superman, Spider-Man, Hulk, and Iron Man. Midjourney's system creates images based on text prompts, but the studios argue it crosses a line, copying characteristics without permission or transformative creativity. Disney's chief legal officer, Horacio Gutierrez, struck a careful tone, recognizing AI's potential when used responsibly, but it was clear piracy is piracy, and the fact that it's done by an AI company does not make it any less infringing. The lawsuit isn't just about creative control. Disney and Universal also highlight that Midjourney made a reported $300 million last year and is gearing up to launch a video service, raising questions about how intellectual property laws keep pace with AI innovation. Experts weigh in with caution. Syracuse University law professor Shabua Ghosh noted that many of Midjourney's images appear to be direct copies of copyrighted characters, shifted into new settings, but lacking the originality required for fair use. Meanwhile, legal expert Randy McCarthy points out that this case is far from straightforward, with issues like Midjourney's terms of service and fair use arguments still needing to be resolved in court. Midjourney, a small startup with fewer than a dozen full-time employees, has yet to respond publicly to the lawsuit. The company's leadership includes some notable names from the tech world, including former GitHub CEO Nat Friedman and Second Life founder Philip Rosedale, signaling serious ambitions. This lawsuit sits at the intersection of technology and creativity, as Hollywood continues to wrestle with the promise and perils of AI. While AI is increasingly used in film and TV, from de-aging stars to altering voices, the industry is clearly signaling that innovation must respect the rights of creators. The outcome of this case could set a precedent for how AI-generated art is treated in the future, a decision that will resonate far beyond Hollywood studios. Okay. That's an interesting story. Anton, what are your thoughts there? Both of us come from an AI background, from a Hollywood background. I'm curious to get to hear what you think of this.
coming from an AI background, that's a scary thought. Yeah, I feel like the studios at one point wanted to embrace AI during the writers' strikes and the actors' strikes, and now all of a sudden they're realizing that their work is getting stolen by everybody and they don't like it. So I'm seeing a bit of two-facedness
Hypocrisy.
in this lawsuit.
I would agree.
Yeah, there's a lot of hypocrisy there. How do you feel about it?
Well, as an actor who I feel like my probably face and likeness have been stolen by Disney already. I worked on a Marvel movie, and we were all asked to sort of be in a dome and have hundreds of cameras take pictures of us. And I was never quite sure what that was for. This was in 2019, before AI was really coming to the forefront. And so who knows whether my face and likeness has been cloned. I did another video game where it was a similar situation, where it was just my face rather than my whole body that was sort of put in one of these things. And they weren't very transparent about what this is being used for. And so I do think that the hypocrisy there is that, you know, they would happily replace a lot of actors on camera and voice work if it saved them a lot of money, but then they don't like it when their work is being stolen. I'm not sure that it helps the case for actors particularly. I think they're gonna do what's right for their bottom line. But it will be interesting to see how this lawsuit plays out and what that means. So there's been some interesting cases in the UK. I don't know if you heard of Dua Lipa and Elton John were sort of backing a bill that would give musicians protection of their work, and the UK the UK government voted against it, really, allowing a lot of mostly American tech companies to sort of use their music to train algorithms, to train these platforms and things like that. So yeah, I mean, maybe the US is going to be on the side of the creatives a bit more than the UK has, but it feels like the UK is a losing battle here when it comes to that. Did you hear about that?
I hadn't heard about that, but it's interesting, sort of the progression of what's going on. That first the creatives at the lower level were being affected. I mean, during the strikes, the acting and writing strikes, the studios were very open about the fact that they wanted to use AI to write scripts and wanted to use AI to film, say, extras. Most actors
pay
Los
an
Angeles
extra
and I'm sure in
250.
London.
Pay an extra $250 for the day and then use and clone them for the rest of their lives. That was what they were proposing, yeah.
Exactly. Taking away most actors' big way of making money. And the studios didn't have any qualms about that. And now we're seeing the second layer get involved where, people can copy our IP, which is something that they're all very obsessed with. And there's been sort of an IP race in Hollywood. And now that's being taken away. It's interesting what's happening on the music side too. I don't know a lot about that, but I have played around with some AI music generation, and it's scary good. I mean, it's not anything nothing I produced is something I would want to listen to.
Yeah.
How about you? Have you played around with it at all?
I haven't. I've had friends share tracks and things like that, but I think it needs these big companies, you know, the big music publishing companies and the big Hollywood studios to fight these lawsuits, because obviously your average voice actor is not going to be able to take this on themselves. So hopefully, well, if any of these cases are in the creative's favor, it might kind of filter down to the smaller folks. And I think one of the UK's arguments for why they kind of voted against these protections was because of they want England to be a hub of AI technology, and it could stifle AI advancements. But I do wonder how ripping off musicians' work and cloning actors' voices and actors' faces. What are the AI advancements that are going to save the world really that require that? Surely you should be focusing on data. It should be analytics. It should be things that really benefit society, which is, addressing things like climate change. How does cloning or scraping an artist's catalog of music help with any sort of bigger necessary advancements in AI? So on one hand, I do think it's important. We don't want to lose this race. China's doing very well in terms of AI. But on the other hand, I don't think you need to take the creatives or their jobs first. Focus on the data, focus on the things that matter.
That's right. I think the tech companies are really focused on beating China. I think that's sort of their main calling card. You see them in commercials sometimes saying, like, we can't have regulations on this because otherwise we won't beat China. But you're completely right. How does that have to do with music and video generation?
Yeah. I think that's just the easiest low-grabbing fruit. There was a meme that I saw with a creator. It was something along the lines of, I would like AI and technology to do my laundry and do my washing while I create my art, not to do my art and so I have to do my laundry and do the washing. It's like we're become, it's being used to take away the jobs that it's supposed to be freeing us to be able to do. It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. All right, well, that brings us to the end of our show on a bit of a downer. I didn't mean to do that there. I should have ended on a bit more of a high note. We'll be back tomorrow, and hopefully we'll have an in-studio guest for you. Thank you for watching the Roxom Report London. We'll see you tomorrow.